Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pinos Palace, where it's a balmy 62 degrees here and dry. I've got RDV from the Great Midwest joining me here in the Extreme Studios. RDV, I know a lot of stuff's going on now. We're post-Halloween. We're getting into the holiday spirit and all that, too. We're continuing our Tulsa King Tuesdays here as we're finishing up Season 3, Episode 7, a.k.a. Sun Tzu, because nobody knows who he is, The Art of War. So this is about keep your friends close and your enemies closer and all those kind of bullshit things you'd hear as a kid that makes somebody want to slap you. But it has its function here in this episode, which has one or two pieces of humor in it. But actually, a lot actually happens in here, too, which I'm surprised. You get to see almost every single character and all that, too. But it actually flows kind of well to it. A solid episode. I'm not going to say action-packed. This is more of a let's move the plot along kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we do a deep dive into this, I was going to say, I actually really thought this was, hey, we're finally on ball here again. It kind of has been fizzling out. Now we're actually making some traction,
on task.
Yeah, on task.
On task,
let's get shit done. And I just thought I thought this was a much better written episode. And I was just kind of happy that we actually have, the plot moving again. Before it kind of felt stagnant. I don't really care about Quiet Ray. Kind of felt he was like a side distraction, like he wasn't really needed. Other things that didn't really pop. There's only two cast members that did not pop up in this episode, and that is Frank Grillo and Kevin Pollak.
Yep.
We know that Frank Grillo's character is locked up. Bill, he's locked up with the FBI with Kevin Pollak, and that's all we know. And we know that Armand was found dead, hanged in his own hotel room. That we know of. That we know it's him. We don't really know it's him. It looked like him, but you didn't see a face.
Yeah, and that's one of those rules, right? Unless you really know it, and even then they can bring it back to life. And what was good about this episode is I thought everything was good, but honestly, I've got a serious problem with the ending that I'll bring to your attention here too. But why don't you start us off with what you noticed early on that you liked?
Well, as you pointed out, we got all the characters in here. Bodie is not in this at all. Bodie took a step back, but we brought in another character. We brought back Fred. Fred was the bouncer at the weed shop. He's now working the blackjack table, or not blackjack. What's it called? Craps table, or it's called. I remember what.
Yeah,
it's called craps. Okay.
Yep.
We get to see Grace pulling her weight in here too. Cal Thresher is back in here. Kevin McDonough or Neal McDonough, and basically the episode was kind of like, all right, we need to get our liquor license back. None of this bullshit, and it's like, well, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, it's how I'll remind people, that hey, we can be nice until we're not nice, So he goes to the Attorney General, and he talks to him, and he's like, dude, it's like, what can I do, to get this, kind of going? And they go, he's like, I don't know. It's like he knows that this guy's under Dunmire's thumb. He's afraid of Dunmire, even if he said so. And he says, like, hey, you may be working for the governor now, but government people do change, governors change, and I want to work with you. I can protect you and all that stuff. And he kind of turns down Dwight, and so then Dwight leaves. Dwight ends up going and talking to Margaret. Margaret reaches out to Cal Thresher. They meet together at Cal Thresher's campaign office, and we kind of get this conversation where he says, like, we need you to spin the Attorney General. It looked great. We also learned that he's also that Cal's in the lead right now for polls for the win the governorship, and he says, like, this guy will be not only be in my pocket, he's in your pocket. And it's a good thing, and it kind of button heads. Stallone's character is kind of like not really good, excited to work with Cal Thresher. Cal Thresher, doesn't really like Stallone whatsoever. He's made it clear many times, but he goes with it. They agree to have a sit down at the Buck Saloon, and so those two are having dinner, and or not that dinner, but they're at the bar. I love it. We get to see the interior, the security offices where all the TVs are. We don't really get to see that. I don't think maybe see it one time, maybe. I don't think we have, but I'll get to see the security footage and everything stuff. And they're watching the table, listening to the conversation. They send Grace in there to give a some free alcohol and stuff, and then they also give him some chips on the house because they learned through Margaret's clever dealing with the guy's wife that they're on shaky ground. The attorney general's wife, it reveals that her husband he's a drinker and a gambler, and this is how they snag him. I love this how they get him into basically working on their side by getting him riled up with booze and having him win at craps repeatedly. Then they swap the dice out. I love this. With Grace coming in, going to Fred, here's the dice, drop this. He keeps going, and Cal's like, dude, stop. He's like, no. He takes his tie off and all that stuff, and they get him into $100,000 in debt. And I love Dwight just kind of behind. He's like, hey, what's up? He's like, don't worry, the drinks are around the house. He's like, what? He's like, how you do? I'll take care of you. Don't worry about this. Let's stay clean with the debt and stuff. And he just kind of smoothes them over. And I love this because this leads to basically, the ending he didn't really like. And before we get to that, we had some side story with
let's keep that as a separate thing. Let me comment on this because
right.
You covered what I would call, let's call it the main storyline, the A line, right? And then we do have, you're right, we have the side quest, which is really fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
The problem with this one here is that early on, I think it was kind of interesting how he went to go see the attorney general. I thought it was kind of funny when he stopped and took a selfie, because he hasn't done it and he hates technology, and he goes to see him. I kind of wish, in a way, because he's under Dunmire's control, we would have gotten a little bit more of this played out a bit, because he immediately was like, what do you want? You need to leave. You don't understand me. He's a powerful man. He blah, blah, blah. And I liked how Stone said, hey, I'm just giving you an opportunity for somebody that can protect you, and you got to think of it. And I just thought it would be nice to see this guy sweat a little bit, but he did. He was kind of like a pud, and that's fine because of what happened later, right?
You mentioned that selfie, though.
What?
I want to bring up real quickly that selfie. I forgot about that. You remember how that guy's watching him?
Yes.
So he took that selfie on purpose for him.
Why?
I think, if the governor is able to pardon him.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see.
General, so
I thought it was just a little bit of humor before something big. Maybe
I've learned that a lot of things.
Though.
I was saying, a lot of things have purpose lately.
No, you're right, and I don't. I mean, that's I like your thinking there, because I didn't really take it as something serious, but
because Dwight doesn't do that. Dwight doesn't do selfies, so it has to serve a purpose.
That's my whole point. Is like he kind of smiled and did the 2-finger symbol. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It was kind of like popped me a little bit, because I wasn't thinking that, because I'm like, he normally doesn't do it, but I thought, okay, that's their humor for the episode, right?
Yeah.
We said how the season's been more mature and there's been a little less humor, which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have it, and we have it in the B line, which we'll get to in a moment. For me, the problem I have with the AG was not the fact that there was this opportunity of setting him up. I loved how he involved his woman in there who knew the AG's wife, invited her for drinks. Then they had a couple. She starts spilling the beans about whatever and stuff, and the guy might have eyes on being something higher up later and all that. But it's basically got problems. Okay, I like that, but the execution here at the end with this and that. You're a fucking attorney general. You're going to some place that you have no idea who owns it or what's going on, and you're gambling, you're drinking. They didn't even put pussy in there, which I almost thought they were going to or something. They kept it really kind of G-rated. It was too easy of a thing, and of course he lost everything and all that. They got the load of dice in there. It was kind of cool, but it's like, really, it just was kind of weak to me.
Well,
but that being said, I get it, and it took a lot of the episode. They executed it fine. It seemed like to me, you're an attorney general, you know better, at least a little bit. And if you have some other thing, that's fine, but it was just too easy.
Well, here's the thing.
And you're not going to do that if you're an attorney general. You are, but that's too obvious. You're in public.
You think it's too easy, but what does Dunmire have on him? Obviously, he works for Dunmire because Dunmire can threaten them.
I wish there was more stress on this guy having to do with that relationship, because when Dunmire goes to see him, which is the other part of this is the part I did not like. Dunmire gets really mad at him, and I thought it was kind of funny, but I felt what happens here is 100% not how we've come to know Dunmire. And that's when he yells at him, loses control, and he's furious. But then he literally jumps over the table and starts beating him or whatever like that, and gets himself arrested.
Well, we've seen Dunmire lose his cool before, and got the guy at the liquor store, and at least one other place. And he doesn't care. Because at this point, Dunmire has been untouchable.
But that's my point is
and
you're in the attorney general's office with security there, You're not stupid. You know, it just didn't make sense to me. Why not call the guy to come see
Well,
you?
well, he could do that, but it's more a show that he doesn't that he's confident. Dunmire, because he said it at the end, because Dunmire needs to get arrested. He's in prison. He's like, don't worry, good things to come to those who wait. Like there's a plan or something like that. But I think Dunmire's got something up his sleeve because he knows dirt on the Attorney General. So he's going to expose the Attorney General probably for something.
Right. So if he does, why assault him? Why go through all that and get yourself on the radar?
Because he still wants to be the little shit's ass, probably. And like I said, dealing with his son and all that crap is that Dunmire this is the first time anybody's challenged Dunmire. So he's kind of I feel like he's getting a little unnerved.
I can see that. I can see that. I just felt he'd been pretty stoic in a way. So to me, I thought, okay, but it's one of those things where based off of how somebody's performed.
It's like Chicky bringing the gun to the airport. It's the same concept. People do stupid things when they're not thinking straight because they're angry.
Yeah. Okay, so take us through the really, really fun B line where we get to see Stallone's hot dog.
Well, there's actually two. There's a B line and a C line.
Okay. Well, I think the B line is the frat line, sir.
Yes, he has the frat line with Scarlet Rose Stallone. Her character Spencer basically was overheard. They know that. We got Tyson and Goody. We're talking about and talking over and stuff. And then Goody mentions that he used to run a scam, tried to be a cop. And what he would do, he would just in the back of the day would just rob somebody of their drugs, their 20, and then basically turn around and sell their own stuff on the, And well, and he's like, but and because Tyson said he wanted to do something. He's got to make up for all the crap he's done. And Tyson, and it was just seeing that Tyson's so freaking impatient here, which really drives me nuts. Goody, and they're in the car when they're with Scarlet Stallone, her character, and she's like, "Yeah, these are the guys here. Let me go in. I'll give you the layout." And I love how Goody's like, "You got to stress out. Tell me how many guys in here, where the drugs are located. Is there a guard dog? The last one's very important." I want to know that story of him with the guard dog. I needed a flashback, but so she goes in there and she comes back out at the frat house and gives the layout, and so it's like, okay, and I love how Tyson's like, okay, now let's go now, and he's like, come on, you get relaxed, and stuff, hang on, and I love he gives him a little like because he's wearing the tracksuit, Goody is, I love it, it's like the good fellow,
man.
Yeah.
So, like a tracksuit.
Yeah, and he looks like an undercover New York cop. I love that. And they're in Tulsa. This is even more funnier. And so got the badges and the chain like you saw with the wire or any of the stuff. The guys, the detectives always had that chain. So him and Tyson go in there. They're wearing sunglasses. They go in there, and everyone in there is pretty much wasted or a pot or like just far out from a pot.
You're smoking and playing video games.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
And I know that's what they're doing. And they're like, what? He's looking around, and then one of the guy recognizes Tyson because Tyson used to go to college. I don't know if this will come back to bite him in the ass, but yeah. So they take the drugs, and the guy, and then Goody notices, hey, what's with the? Because there's people always hold out, and they're like, because it's in the ceiling tile. He grabs another bag, takes the cash. Goody says, I'm keeping the cash. You guys take the drugs. I want nothing to do with the freaking drugs. They're a nightmare, And so he takes the cash, and then we get Spencer and Tyson now have the drugs, and she's like, well, I could sell them easily, I know context. But I want half the profit though. He's like, Tyson's like, what? And he's like, I did all the work. You didn't do shit. So
right, she did the most important stuff, and she's got to move it, and she's the one that went in there.
Yes, so she knows us. Yeah, so, and so that's that side story is going on. The other story is the fact that Spencer is still hanging out with Beau. Dunmire's son.
Cole.
Yeah, Cole. Sorry, Cole. Beau, Cole, whatever. At this point, who cares? He's an idiot. And they're still hanging out, and yeah, so she's still trying to form a relationship with him, despite what he did at the opening thing event. Eventually, I don't know. It sounds like she's trying to convince him to turn on his dad. Because he says, like, my dad doesn't give a shit about me. All he cares about is legacy.
I see the good in you because you were good to me, so I know you can be good and stand up
Yeah.
to your dad. Then I'll fuck you.
Well, she hasn't fucked him yet, so who knows? She might be playing him. I don't know.
I'm going to say this. She's absolutely gorgeous. She seems very relaxed when she's talking. She
23 years old. Yeah.
She doesn't come across as snooty or like that at all.
No.
I feel like she's just trying a little hard. Like the timing's off between the three of them talking, and I just think that's inexperience. She's not bad.
She's only been in 2 movies before this. One came out this year, and both of them were kind of low, real score. They didn't really were that high in viewing rating. But yeah, it's
worse as far as the acting. She's not bad. Like she doesn't give you that change of channel heat.
No. But I like the fact that Stallone, this guy's pushing 80. If he's not 80 yet, he's trying to help out his daughter who has a dream to be an actress. She's only 23 years old. She's the youngest of the kids. Because remember, he had 5 children altogether. He had 2 sons. One passed away. He's got one, and then the other one who has autism. He's 46, and then there's another one. The oldest daughter is 29, and then
I think the one that was older in the one movie died too, right?
That was Sage
or whatever. Sage Stallone or whatever.
Sage died, overdose or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and then the other one was born with autism. That's I forget what his name is, but but he's the one that they do never see because they keep him on the spotlight purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so yeah, I like the fact that he's giving her a chance. It's not because sometimes I don't like that because you see like why do we care about the celebrities? Well, it's because my mommy and daddy are rich and famous. They're kind of shoving her down the throat. She doesn't come off that way.
That's my point. I agree with you. I'm looking at that going, if you didn't know she was her daughter, you'd be like, hey, she's doing okay. She's kind of hot.
She seems like an extra. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I so anyway, so that's the other side story. Yeah, I want to know what's going to go on with Bill and him being in the FBI. And obviously he's going to tell everything that Dwight's working for him. Quiet Ray, he talked to him at the beginning of the episode. He's like they had to argue, and then finally that created concerns. But Lacey said he's like he says someone's like I want to cut you. And he's like. Well, no, you should always cut me, and you shouldn't have to do all this stuff. We're family and stuff. He's like, he says you're greedy. You want 80, give me 20%. You didn't do jack shit, Yeah,
look the review that we got at the beginning of the episode, previously on Tulsa King.
Yeah,
when they have the old guy, that was the best scene of last episode to me. Their interaction with the old guy, who I thought was kind of boring.
Quite right.
I believe in how dangerous he is, just the way he talks, and so that got me hyped up.
James Remar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Was he? I'm not trying to think. That's not the guy from the Warriors, James Remar, or
really don't.
Oh no, 48 Hours. Isn't he the bad guy?
The name James Remar. I don't think the old guy. You're saying the old guy was James Remar though?
Yeah, that's what it is.
James Remar sounds like Dexter's father, but
James Remar is silent.
Yeah, James Remar is Dexter's father. So the old man I'm talking about here, I forget his name, Silent Bob or
I just said it 3 times. It's Quiet Ray.
Quiet Ray, that's it. Quiet Ray. He's somebody I don't think I know who he is.
Maybe it's not James Remar. Maybe it's hold on.
James Russo.
James Russo, that's what it is. Yeah, I always get confused with those two, but yeah.
They remind me of each because they're very tough, right? And so James Remar has this like dad kind of quality about him when he talks like this to Dexter. But then this other guy, he talked that way to Dwight, and now he's basically like, I'm going to fucking whack you.
James Russo, Donnie Brasco.
Oh, okay.
That's where he's from. Beverly Hills Cop. You look at his younger photos of him. He looks, he just looks so different.
Oh, yeah. Well, because he's got the glasses on, he's got the short hair and all that too. I mean, he's aged well, but at first he seemed like a tired old man. But he's brought the heat the past few episodes, and here, even though he's trying to, Stallone's trying to tell him, hey, that was meant for me. And he's like, well, why'd you bring me there? You wanted to, he's like, no, I wouldn't do that or whatever. And he basically is like, insinuates that he's going to whack him. And so now
Yeah.
we know that the hit's going to get put on him here pretty soon. So
Yeah, he's been on shows like Vegas, and he's been on some other
Oh,
ones.
I'm looking at his Wikipedia.
Yeah,
His first film, or his breakout, was Fast Times at Ridgemont High as a convenience store robber. This is at the end of the movie where Spicoli's going to take a leak, and the one dude had gotten fired for like masturbating or whatever at store, or calling the guy an asshole. And so he's like at a 7-Eleven, and he throws hot coffee in the guy's face, and the guy runs out, and Spicoli comes out and goes, "Whoa, that was awesome, dude."
Beverly Hills Cop. He's the friend that gets killed. Beating.
Yep.
Said he's Ninth Gate. He's in there too as well. Is Bernie? So yeah, this guy.
Bernie, his assistant who gets hung up on one of the.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I know exactly who he is.
Yeah. So I know I've seen before. It's Remar, Russo. I always get confused because they kind of have the same. Anyway, so James Russo, like I said, at first I didn't recognize him either. I'm like, well, he's been 30, 40 years since the 90s, or at least it's almost feel like it's been 40 years since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like I said, I kind of, he's always been the tough guy, the actor and all, the gangster kind of thing. So yeah, I love the fact that Stallone brought this guy back in here into this, and it's classic because Stallone just did that with Goody. And a lot of other characters have been on other mob shows. So why not? If people who've done really well on other good shows, bring them in. Because you don't want people who never play the role who are not good at it. And I also makes it more believable.
Put some weight behind the supposed bad guys.
Yeah. Exactly. Quiet Ray is not chicky. I think he's going to be a little bit more, because. Yeah, especially if word gets out, because remember, I thought he wanted Quiet Ray. Didn't the Kevin Pollak's character FBI, did he originally he was going after Quiet Ray? Stallone might be
aware of all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Stallone,
so to me,
I think Stallone might be
very little behind him.
I think Stallone might be able to give him a deal. That's how Stallone gets out of it. Don Meyer ends up his house getting blown up with him in it, or booze, whatever, and then Stallone gives James Russo or Quiet Ray over to the feds or someone like that. I don't know.
Shootout here soon. It didn't happen this episode. It was an attempted one last one, and it was pretty poor. I'm going to take a wild guess with a buddy of mine that worked with Marble back in the day in the hood where I grew up here in Pine Hills, just west of Orlando, Florida. And you were telling me about the shootout, and I remember all your words going in mind about how stupid it was. And so in the flashback, when they flip the table, you can see like chunks that come out, which is a nice touch. I'm looking at the marble going, I think that is a type called Fior de Pesco, I think is the name of it, or something. I just remember it because of the print on there, and I thought, okay, that would stop bullets.
That's not my problem. My problem was that they were there shooting at Cole and the other guy, and how they somehow missed him and didn't hit other people.
Can't argue that. Argue that at all.
After watching Hard Boiled, where everyone gets caught in the crossfire, it really brings it home. But it's the magic of TV. Magic bullets.
If I recall, though, sir, outside of talking about Stallone's hot daughter and the B side drug thing, what is the C angle, sir?
The C angle. I already said it. It was Spencer going and meeting up with Cole. That was the other story angle that's going on.
Oh, I see how you're trying to say it. Okay.
That's why I said it was called a C. It was a C minor. It wasn't as great as the B.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Well, because to me, I was like, oh, you're seeing this episode differently than me. No, I'd say what worked for me in this episode the most is a flashback with how good that performance was. Definitely did. I mentioned that, but I really like the whole setting up the AG, not the way they did the AG, but how they went through his wife using the softer side. It gave Dave and Delany something to do, sitting down having drinks at a really fancy place, and she's like, oh, I've been trying to get a membership here, and maybe when we get in there, whatever. So obviously it's a marriage of convenience or whatever.
But,
she makes it sound like nothing's happening.
There is one thing with the AG while he's inside the Butt Saloon. They see that Dunmire shows up with boys, so Stallone goes out there and he gives it. That's
the art of war.
The art of war thing and stuff. And he talks to me. You ever hear the art of war? He's like, what? What does that do with this? He's like, well, it's what. You give your enemy, you give him a golden, bridge. You build him a golden bridge. Here's your golden bridge. Get the fuck out of here. Otherwise, it's your last chance. Otherwise, it's over. And at this point, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that the Attorney General is in there. He just knows that that Stallone came to see him that day, which is the great thing about this.
Yes.
And we get to see kind of like Stallone, kind of this kind of like this, basically like getting one over on him. I love it. And then of course we see later on that after talking to Spencer, he's back home. And he's doing the moonshine, filling the bottles. That comes out to me, and it's basically what's all the muscles and stuff. Is that the high that you have a weak soul or a bad soul? Because it was like he says, why do you fail all the time? And it's like, and I love Cole says well, you care more about the whiskey than you care about your own son. Your legacy dies with you.
He's like, I am your legacy.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like to break my arm reaching over and pat myself on the back here a little bit because I've never really said it like that before.
Yeah.
But I remember early on in the season when I felt the tone was a little different, I told you that when the old man got burnt up and that was kind of, wow, this guy's not fucking around. I kind of liked all that and was darker, right? But I went through a long thing talking about how I like how they do the local stuff here and they're using whiskey. And you and I speculated it's probably going to be, maybe the families did it together, right? That old classic thing. We don't know that yet. And I just think the whole thing with Cole, he knows something that we don't. Same thing with Dunmire, and he's aware of it, but he hasn't made a connection. And I said this whole show's about this season's about legacy. That was the exact word that I had used. So I love the fact that Cole, to your point, was sitting there talking to him because his dad even makes a snarky comment like, those muscles must be hiding something, and it's like, God damn it, just get out there in the open so we as a viewer can relish in what's going to happen in the remaining couple of episodes.
That is the whole theme of this whole season.
Yes.
Cole's trying to be please his father. Tyson's trying to please his father, Dwight. And you see how they're treated differently. Two sides. So
what's going to happen to Cole?
I think Cole's going to end up whacking his father or getting whacked in the process. Because he has so much guilt. I think he's going to pull a move on his dad, try to kill him. That's the only I can think. Or he's going to die helping Dwight.
That's the what I think is going to happen because this show has a tendency to take that easy way out. A part of me almost wants to see him live and take over the Dunmire legacy.
I would love that, and then also give Spencer kind of like an exit if she wants to. Or we get to see more of Cole with Spencer. I have a happy ending with these two, but he said he's right now. He's not the weakest link. He's just the character. Like he's the sitting.
We have to suffer through him until he
does cake powder. He's cake. Yeah.
And he's jacked as fuck. I mean, if he wasn't acting like a hurt little boy, Daddy didn't love me, he'd be a badass. Really,
he could. They could literally turn him into the bad guy, and have he could be the salt of the earth and just beat the shit out of his dad. But he doesn't do it because like I said, this is a guy who idolized his father growing up, and then got pushed aside. I'm wondering if Dunmire was a better father when his other son was alive.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it just destroyed him, or he always treated Cole like shit. We don't know.
Yeah.
Even when the other son was alive,
There is the C storyline. I honestly thought you were going to reference, kind of half jokingly, because you and I both got snookered last episode. It took our lunch money, both of ours. Is, hey, you know who the big guest star of the season is?
Well, you're talking about Samuel Jackson.
Where is he?
Not here yet.
Get the fuck out of here, Tulsa King. That's a fucking bait and switch.
So no, I think he's final episode.
Yeah. There's a big fuck you to the other 9 episodes.
It's a different type of show because the Rookie, when they want to do a spinoff, that was in the middle of the season, and the Rookie usually does about almost 20 episodes probably per season or a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, and they would introduce a character in, and that's how they got the Rookie or FBI, whatever, spinoff, and they did that. But that's a much lighthearted thing, and that's also ABC. This is a Paramount is doing things a little bit differently. I hear there's supposed to be another spinoff too from this, other than this the Nola whatever. I thought there's supposed to be another one. I have to look. I have to double check, but
Right.
but honestly, who knows? With remember, Dunmire's in prison. We don't know if he's racist or not, so he might. I don't know, because if he's not a good old boy or a KKK lover, Democrat, whatever, he might be friends with our buddy Samuel L. Jackson, and that's how he gets introduced.
That would be nice. I don't think that's going to happen, but I like the idea of it being different. But if you noticed when he got arrested, when the
he was nice
the leading jail officer guy takes the cuffs off him and goes, "I'm really sorry to have to do this for you, Mr. Dunmire. It's not personal. It's just
do my job."
Dunmire's like, "No, I understand," or whatever like that. He knows him personally, so he knows he's got it in there. He's going to be protected.
But Dunmire said, "How about you don't do your job?" Because I'm just doing my job. He's like, "How about you just don't do your job then?" You know.
Oh, man. Dunmire. I'm getting scared because I think they're turning Dunmire into a little bitch, and I don't want him to be, because he's been so strong this season, right? And I'm trying to give Cole the benefit of the doubt, which normally I don't do with people, because he hasn't earned it, right?
Here's the thing, though. This has been since the first season. They did it with the Chickie. They did it with, they're going to do it with Dunmire. They kind of do it with Bill. It's like these guys, are not tough. It's because remember, it's not supposed to be a very serious thing. It's supposed to be kind of a lighthearted thing. If this was like Sons of Anarchy, then these guys would be a little more scarier. Because you remember the guy in the beginning, you have the Sons of Anarchy wannabes, the Hell Angel guys, who were kind of like the neo-Nazi guys, the bikers, and I took them out. That guy was a little more psychotic. But I hope Dunmire is not. They don't print out to be like, oh, he's a white boy, he's a Confederate, and hates black people and all that stuff. I really don't think they're going to go that route. So that's why I said I'd love to have him be friends with Samuel Jackson versus Stallone.
I think he's had kind of like the most personality. Like, he seems very comfortable with the role he's portraying, more so than Chickie, really, and just anybody else. So a part of me thinking going into season 4, because I think they've confirmed 2 more seasons. I may be wrong on that, but I really just think that, I'm not saying he's too invaluable, you can't get rid of him, because they make these bad guys disposable. But I feel like he's done the best job of being the most comfortable and the most sincere. It's like he's a threat than anybody else. With Quiet Ray, I only saw it 1 episode, and it's kind of a little too much delayed. Yeah. But I don't know.
I think Quiet Ray is going to get taken out either by Samuel Jackson or he's going to get arrested or whatever.
He's going to get whacked. But the only problem with him getting whacked is this. And think about this. You tell me.
There's no threat in New York then.
That's my point. What happens to New York? Oh, you have him whacked. That means now you're the boss. That means you have to.
I don't think he's going to get whacked, though. I mean, they have to keep him around for more pressure and stuff, but unless they're going to say that the New Orleans is kind of the pressure now because we have, and that's how you introduced him, Samuel Jackson's character. But Samuel Jackson can't be really heavy because of the fact that you're giving a spinoff. Unless they're going to keep doing crossovers. You're going to have Dwight show up over there. On that, I don't know. I don't think they would. That's the only problem when you do spinoff shows. When the main show is more popular than the spinoff show. And then the main character from the main show doesn't always necessarily go over to the spinoff show. And then that show kind of dwindles and just goes away.
Well, I'll confirm what you said at the beginning here. I do think this is a very good episode. It really moves things a lot. When the show does that and seems mature in it, it's a step above just regular drama kind of stuff or whatever like that. There's plenty of that kind of filler on TV. This can be kind of fun, last season was. But for me, I did like this episode. I hope the momentum that started in this episode continues for the rest of the season.
Same here. It's been a fun show for me. Looking forward to another season of this. Like I said, this is also a show. If it went away, I mean, it sucks. I can't watch it, but I really want another season. And that's only because for me is the fact and this is a knock on the show. It's just the fact that there's hardly any good television shows that I'm interested in. And it's not like it was back in the 90s and stuff. You can just find a bunch of stuff, to watch all constantly. So if a show went off the air, all right, I got 2 or 3 more lined up already, you know. And it's getting to the point where shows get greenlit one season and then they cut them for whatever reason. I'm like, you can't do it for Nielsen ratings because you're streaming. There's no Neal. Yeah. So I'm like, what the heck is wrong with it? If it's on TV, I can understand that ratings, whatever, because you may have Nielsen ratings still on TV. But I'm thinking like, the majority of people watch stuff through streaming. They don't watch live television anymore, and that's why everything's shifting there. That's why a lot of movies that people don't watch, they don't go to theater. They watch through the streaming, or for a while. I did direct to DVD, so I wait for it to hit the DVD and watch it that way. So me, because I can just watch at my leisure, and then I let movies pile up like that instead of having to go every month. Oh, is it out? And then trying to get a seat. I've never been a theater guy. Now, some people like to see things on the theater. That's understandable, you know. But I don't like watching movies with 30 other people who are either on their cell phones or eating popcorn loud in my ear or kicking my seat, all that crap. I don't want to
be a bit nicer than that, but I know. It seems now when you go, you get annoyed by everything.
The theater that I had
are today, especially young kids.
The theater that I went to shut down, went out of business because of COVID. You know, and I didn't have to worry about that. I go there. I go to noon showings. Avoid all the kids that come out after school. They're the ones that are the rowdy ones. And I would go watch movies. I watched John Wick 4 in around a noon showing. Didn't know that it was going to be a 3-hour movie, so I was like halfway through. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta pee. But unfortunately, but that's like I said. That's why I like home entertainment. Why would we advertise for the past 30 years? Get this giant TV, surround speakers, all this stuff, you know, entertainment center, and receiver and stuff. And somehow people are like, why aren't they going to theaters? Duh. So, so Tulsa King is a show that I wanted to keep going. And I said I want Landman to keep going. I'm going to be checking in this, looking at Slow Horses. I heard that's really good.
Don't know anything about it.
Slow Horses, Gary Oldman's show. I think it's on Apple TV.
Okay.
Yeah. It's MI5 show.
Interesting, definitely.
Yeah, Eric Breen, a friend of our channel, he's been like, hey, check this out. So I've been getting a lot more shows to watch.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. Obviously, you know, TV's an extension of what we do here on the Xtreme Movie Show. So coming up, we might have Miami Vice season 1 that we're going to be taking a look at some point next year in 2026. We'll probably get back to Forever Night at some point. We might do Millennium or X-Files and all that. But if there's anything in particular you'd like us to consider, please drop us on and let us know. You got anything else, sir?
Yes. Any show other than Forever Night. We know that we haven't done yet. Like I said, I was looking out. Oh, there was another one I was looking at their show. It was called Dracula, the series from 1990. It was in 1990 and 1991. You ever hear that one?
How many episodes?
It's like 22 episodes.
I can't believe I haven't.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a detective, you know, but like I said, like I just came across it the other day and I was like, somebody on YouTube had a whole playlist. I was like, dang. And that might have been recommended, and I was going through comments, going through here. Somebody might have brought that up. That might have been Stug or someone else. So definitely gonna check that series out.
Interesting. I've seen a few smaller, like 2, 3, 4 episode TV, mini series is what we used to call them back in the day. So I've heard of a few ones over the years, but still.
All right, Dracula TV series. Look real quickly. American brothers Max and Chris arrive in a small European town to spend time with their eccentric uncle Gustav, and he becomes sure that their uncle's a vampire, and goes to see the rich local businessman Alexander Lucard for help.
The rich businessman, what?
Local businessman named Alexander Lucard.
Okay,
Dracula.
You know what that means, right?
It's Dracula.
No, all right, it's Dracula backwards.
Yeah.
What's the name of the show?
This is called Dracula the series.
Okay,
it went on for like 21 episodes. Yeah, it takes place in a small little British town in an area. Yeah, your European town. Spend time. What?
Oh, it's Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I don't know it.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, oh, this actually looks kind of interesting. It's because sometimes you get the kid stuff, like a kid show, but it actually looks well made. It at least that time.
Well, one of the guest stars on there is Jarrett Wynn Davies, who is Nick Knight from
Yes.
what show? Forever Knight.
Forever Knight. And Mia Kirshner's in it too.
Oh, Barry Morse is even on here. He was the guy from The Fugitive. I remember him.
Yep.
I do not know this one, sir, because this is at the time when it was out, and that was
also
Matt on that.
Kim Coates. Kim Coates, I believe, is the guy that was on Sons of Anarchy. He had played No. He was just Sons of Anarchy. He played Traeger, and he was just one of the bad guys in the
22-minute episodes too.
Yeah.
That's what's different. They're not hour-long shows.
Yeah,
interesting. I'll check it out.
All right, guys, we're gonna end it here. We'll see you on Sunday.
Good night now.
Later.